compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL 1975, I hereby state that adequate notice of this special meeting has been provided to the public by a written notice dated November 20, 2022. The meeting notice has been 1. Emailed to all staff members at the district schools. 2. Communicated to at least one of board's designated newspapers. And 3. Filed with the board clerk of Palisades Park. Roll call, please.
Yoon-min,
Here.
Sue Chung,
Yes.
Iniesta Garcia,
Here.
Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Here.
Peter Longo,
Here.
Charlie Shin.
Here.
Okay. You know the state of a presiding officer, at this time, there is no report, right? Okay, now the report of the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Min, and welcome to everyone tonight. There are 3 items that I would like to touch on, and I will allow for Ms. Kim to present her, I guess, in her report, the HVAC project, but I can interject if you choose at that time. But there is a submission required for the preschool operation plan. Last year, we were granted a 5-year program with the State Department of Education to roll out preschool free of charge to all 3- and 4-year-old children in Palisades Park. Because we do not have the rooms, because we don't have the facilities to afford all of the children right away, we had to do this in a 5-year rollout. So next year we have to add another section. We will be doing so. The plan is being submitted to Trenton, but the board has to approve that before we submit it. So next year, my recommendation is we continue the program. We add 1 more section with 15 more students, which is only 1 more classroom. We don't have the space for me to say, let's do the whole thing. Next year would be year 3 of 5. So after next year, there is a very serious need for major facility upgrades in this school especially, because if we can't service additional students, we cannot be eligible for that grant, and that money has to be returned to the state. And the reciprocal downside is the families that trust that free program would not be eligible any longer. So I do need a resolution. In new business, we'll do that. Second, I want to just speak to a concern that came about last week here at the Early Childhood Center. We had a classroom that I was made aware that may have had a mold concern. We had that area immediately shut down. We removed all children from that room. We tested and just received a report today that we have very low levels of spores, which are fungi, in that classroom. We are authorizing Consolidated Environmental to do a cleanup immediately. No children, no faculty, no staff have been or will be in that room until we have a air sampling that the room is clean and sanitary. Okay, so I will keep you all up to date on that. Last but not least, happy Thanksgiving. It's already November 22nd. I'm not sure how it goes so quickly. I guess, you know, again, we are fortunate that we are all together. We are fortunate that we are here tonight. But to you and your families, to the board members, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suryaho. Now, report to board open.
Thank you, Ms. Min. So today I have 4 resolutions for the board to approve and pass. One of them, it concerns employment contract with the Palisades Park supervisors agreement. The negotiation committee has already negotiated out all the terms, and we signed a memorandum of agreement back in June 30th, 2022. So what I needed to do was put it in contract, formal written contract with the Palisades Park Supervisors Association, and it was completed last week. So tonight I present that for the board's approval and ratification. And the second, the remaining resolutions concern about the district's construction projects. Last month, if you remember, Dr. Cirillo brought it up to the board attentions to pass the resolutions for to grant award of contracts to the 3 lowest bidders, and by the board's decision, I, as a board attorney, was asked to review the lowest bids, as well as the whole process of the public bidding, because that process is very, it's very like specific to the public schools contracts law. And there are certain requirements, actually a lot of requirements that we have to meet in order to make the bidding process legal. So that's what I did, and I reviewed the lowest 2 bids for each project. We have 3 projects, one for HAVOC upgrades for the ECC, the Early Childhood Center, and also boiler replacement for the Limburg school. And the third one is the HAVOC upgrades for the junior, senior high school. And upon reviewing all the bids, the lowest bids, I am in agreement with Dr. Cirillo's recommendation, as well as the board architect. They are Perret Samjon Architect LLC. They were appointed as our board architect earlier this year. So I would like to present the resolutions to pass all the 3 recommended lowest bidders for our construction projects. Correct.
Thank you, Ms. Okay, next, minute approval for September 29, 2022 meetings. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
A second.
Any discussion? Okay, if it's not, roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here,
Soo Chung,
Yes.
Iniesta Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
okay. Next, let's get to the committee reports. So we'll start with the finance, Mr. Lim.
Okay. Yeah, Finance Committee, as I explained, we had a meeting yesterday at 10 a.m. and just go over all the Finance Committee agenda. And we have here today 8 consent agenda for resolution. So I think we can make a resolution.
Anybody
Make
second?
a motion? Anybody make a motion?
Kevin made the motion.
Yes.
Second.
Second, okay. Any other discussions on that? If it's not, roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here,
Soo Chung,
Yes.
Iniesta Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
okay, thank you. Next will be building, ground committee.
Yes. I would like to make a motion for 3 resolutions you have in your agenda. And as I told you in work session, we reviewed and we didn't have any problem. We found any problem in this application. So, any second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If it's not, roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here,
Soo Chung,
Yes.
Iniesta Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Okay. Next one is a personal, it's me. Before us, we have a 12 resolutions. We all reviewed, but number 10 is removed. So we have only 12 resolutions. So I'd like to make a motion as the consent agenda. Anybody second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, if it's not, roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here,
Sue Chung,
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia, Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
okay, thank you. Okay, next one, curriculum committee.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Next one would be negotiation, Ms. Garcia.
No report.
Okay, thank you. So, next one would be policy, Ms. Garcia.
No report.
No report, thank you. And, next one is PTA, PTSA liaison, Ms. Chung.
No reports for approval.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go on, let's move on. Next one, student activity and field trips, it's me. So, we have 3 resolutions. I'd like to make a motion as the consent agenda. Second. Anybody?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, if it's not, roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here,
Sue Chung,
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Here.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
okay, thank you. Okay, next, calendar food service, Mr. Kim,
I have nothing to report this time.
thank you. Okay, next we'll go into old business, so any old business.
So, I need someone to make a motion to pass the resolutions for habit projects.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second. Anyone second? Yeah, me.
Oh, you second, okay.
Okay, and then discussion. Okay. Any discussion?
And just to be clear, this is the resolution that was presented in October?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just so everyone is aware.
No, these are the resolutions that I drafted, today for the board to review, so if you wanted to, it's just same as the recommendations Dr. Cirillo made.
Okay.
Any discussions? If it's not, I will move on
We need a roll call on that.
okay. Roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here,
Sue Chung,
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
thank you. Let's get on to new business.
Ms. Kim, are you doing the PPSA in old business?
New business.
New business, excellent, so you can please go first.
So as I stated during my report, I present resolutions to pass the agreement between the Palisades, the Board of Education and Palisades Supervisors Agreement. So a copy of the resolution is included in your packet.
No, this is the HVAC. I didn't get it.
You didn't get the HVAC?
Not many, yeah.
That's HVAC. This is PPSA.
Yes, that's the only one I had.
We only have the HVAC.
We don't have any.
copy of my own.
Yeah.
So I think, Ms. Kim, if you don't mind, this was just a matter of, Ms. Kim drafting language and, having an agreement. The MOA was
Correct.
executed,
Correct.
in June. This was a matter of now just fully executing the contract language, getting signatures and having both represented sides agree to all of that. Is that fair to say?
Correct, yes. So, nothing changes, all the agreements made between, our board and the PPSA, the Palisades Park Supervisors Agreement, I'm sorry, Supervisor Association, it stays same, it's just that the contract language, typical contract language for, the formal, employment agreement, that's what I did. And then, the parties will finally, agree to all the language as of last week.
So we need a motion, a second, and a roll call on the agreement to be fully executed.
Okay.
So I make a motion to, upon the recommendation of the board attorney, to approve the contract with the board and the PPSA.
Second.
Any discussion?
My only question was, there is on the preamble, page 1, there is a blank date. Section A.
Yes, so, when the board attorney, the president signed this, I think we have to put the date, the correct date as of, the date of the signing.
Okay, so that will be amended, I'm generally not in the
Correct.
habit of leaving any blanks in contracts, so we'll
Yes.
just update that when it's ratified?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call please.
Yoon Min,
Here.
Sue Chung,
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
I too, in new business, would like to make a recommendation for the submission of the preschool operation plan for the 2023-2024 school year. I need a motion, a second.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second it.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
So other than what was provided in terms of what the plan is to add the 15, that's what the motion consists of, just
That is
to
it.
add a 15.
And the state will obviously, the state determines a per pupil expenditure. So based on what that cost is, they will give us additional money next year for 15 more students.
Okay, so that's the plan, alright, just along the same.
Correct.
Thank you.
No problem.
So make a motion.
Number 15 came out because the size of the room.
That is correct. So, the state determines that 950 square feet is required, to have the limit of 15 students in each room. That is regulated by the Department of Education. And every room must have a, bathroom in it, which at this point becomes even more tricky because, again, we're fortunate that many of the classrooms here have it. But this is an early childhood center that is inclusive of kindergarten. We've already moved some things around. Our special education population continues to grow. We desperately need space. This is something that I've been talking about for a few years now. And again, I've gone out in the community. I've checked with facilities to see if we can rent space from them because that is permissible. The response thus far has been to buy my building. I'm not looking to buy any building. We don't have the money to do it. We just need to rent space in a building that is suitable for the Department of Ed. Ideally, we didn't have to do that. We could keep it here. We just don't have the facilities to do so.
Rent means it has to be in Palisades Park.
Yes, sir.
We discussed about the other possibilities for the addition of the classrooms, like using the ground floor of the library,
Yes, sir.
which needs the cooperation with town.
Yes, sir.
right? Fortunately, Mr. Jason Kim will be the councilman next year, so maybe we can pursue that possibility also.
Whoever they appoint as a liaison, they are the one that we're gonna talk.
Mhm.
If I get appointed, I will do that.
So I have to keep your phone number.
So, yeah, so we'll study the possibility, all the possibilities.
We have to
pursue, right?
continue to explore it. I just think that the long-term positive effect is going to outweigh any detrimental concerns we have. I've said this before, I say it again, I'm not a resident of Palisades Park, but to be able to say that you offer free public education to all 3 and 4-year-old children makes your home value that much more desirable for a family. So again, I know this is something that we were fortunate when we submitted our application last year to be selected. We are one of the few schools in Bergen County that offers free preschool to the children. This would be something that I encourage strongly, that there's collaboration and constant communication between the 2 entities.
Yes, including most of BOE members, many of BOE members agreed, okay, with your opinion, so, and we are ready to cooperate with that thing, so, let us know what you need for us to do, like. even
Hammers, nails, and wood.
And money.
Thank you.
Without adding the tax, the resident tax, okay?
Well, the good news is, and for the public, well, we're still in discussion on this item, so let's stay with this one.
Okay.
Okay. Any new business?
Any other discussion on this?
Okay, any discussion?
No.
Okay, roll call please.
Newman,
Here?
Sue Chung,
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna add, on Ms. Kim, I'll just echo what was just brought up with taxpayer dollars, because that's always a valid concern. The HVAC projects, which we had anticipated approximately $6.8 million, came in at approximately $5.3 million. That will not cost the taxpayers not 1 penny in Palisades Park. We were very fortunate to receive a grant from the federal government. We have used some of our capital reserve. So we are, again, I'm extremely grateful to publicly say, not 1 penny of taxpayer dollars will be going towards the HVAC project. And it's desperately needed. I know there are members here. I know at the finance meeting every month you ask me why there's so many repairs to the boilers. They are in disrepair almost. They are old. They need to be updated. Homes have life expectancies. Roofs have life expectancies. So do our boilers. So do our furnaces. And if we can't have heat in our schools, I'm sure that residents would be very, very concerned with their children in the buildings.
Question.
Yes, sir.
What's gonna happen to those differences? 6 point something.
So I have authorized that all of the Federal Reserve money for coronavirus has to be used, otherwise we lose it. So we will be using all of it. At that point, we have just been able to save ourselves additional capital reserve money. So in the event a roof goes, in the event we have mold in a classroom, I have to be able to use funds that are not allocated or not budgeted. So that's where we use that extra money. We were very lucky that these 3 bids all came in under what we had anticipated, not what I anticipate, but what the architects had anticipated on
So what you're
prevailing
saying
wage.
is you're not gonna lose the difference. We can relocate the money.
We
to
can put
something
that money
else.
back in our reserve accounts.
Okay, very good.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, speaking of that, could you just refresh again that what is the total, the grant that we got, and what's the amount? I know total, the budget is almost like $6.6 million, so $6.59 million.
Yeah.
That's what we had originally gone out for, Mr. Lim, I think with the Finance Committee and Buildings and Grounds. We appropriated about 6.8 million approximately.
Yeah.
And I believe, again, in reviewing the 3 lowest bidders
Yeah.
on the 3 different projects in our buildings, in each of our schools, we are at approximately $5.3 million.
So what I'm asking is what is the total federal grant that we already secured, and
So
what's the total, we have a capital reserve, right?
That is
To-
correct.
Yeah, to
I
utilize.
believe
for
we are
that.
just south of $5 million in our federal grant, coronavirus ESSER 3 allocation. And based on that, obviously, we have very small additional money needed from our capital reserve account.
Thank you.
What what I'm also gonna do, now that this is authorized, board approved, and I thank the board for this, and I hope the residents and the community appreciate this undertaking. It's not a project that's gonna be done overnight. This is a monumental task. This is something that could take months and even years. With that being said, I'm going to get a copy of the actual plans on our website for anyone to see. I'm going to share the resolutions. We have to, I've been contacted by some of these vendors because they wanna get orders in. They wanna get their calendars set up for this. So, again, I thank the board for moving on such an important matter. We can go to audience.
Well, before you go to the next one, I really wanna applaud of getting this grant that I know who worked on it. Especially Dr. Serena was working very hard to secure this grant the last year, and we got it. So without their help, we probably wouldn't get this money. We will have a lot of problems in the future years. So kudos for them and the grant writers and all the people who work behind the wheel. We should really give some hands on that. So let's give a hand to them. So we can clap it.
Now, we like to make a motion to open audience participation.
I make a motion to open audience participation.
Second.
You can do an all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
So before we go into audience, just as a general reminder, our policy permits for any audience member to speak. You just please state your first and last name, your residence, and we do have a policy that permits for 3 minutes. Ms. Smith, you can call on anyone.
Yes. Mary Papote for Glen Avenue. I have a question. What is that we gonna do in high school, like with that grant that we have, what is exactly what we're doing? And if you could really say what we do it in Limber too, and what do we do it in, I know we need a lot done, but what are we special we do it in high school, ECC and Limber School for the, for the parent who see the video that one post, know what is we expecting to see or what to do. And another question that I have is, and I wanna ask the board member, I know a few, well, Jason King is not gonna be in the board member anymore, but the one that is staying. What can we do? I don't know if you guys are aware that the high school is I'm getting a report from my, from the student, my daughter, that we've been having tremendously fight in the school. Like it's been going on a lot. And it's worrying me as a mom, and I know a lot of the parents is gonna be worrying as I am and the teacher as well. How can we find a plan to make a solution because it's getting out of hand? Every day I heard it was a fight in the school. And one occasion, they closed the bathroom for 2 days. I don't know what was the reasons, the gymnasium bathroom. And I feel that it's getting worse and worse. So as a board member, I would like to see that you guys come with a plan to help the principal and the teacher and we as a parent to find a solution, because there has to be a solution for this. We cannot allow this school to keep going with a fight, because our kid is gonna get in danger if a fight occurs. And what is happening? What is going on? Because I know every school have fight. That's normal. Because not normal, but it's happened. But it's been seen like it's getting very, very out of control, a lot. To the point that my daughter almost every week she come out, it was another fight. And the other kid is enjoying, recorded and posted. So we have to find a solution, to see what can we do to stop this a little, control the situation, because I don't think it's very safe for our community to continue with this. What is the consequence that those kids getting after they getting into a fight? What do we get after that? How can we salute that it become less or at least none? Because I've been here 22 years,
And my other kid come to the same high school, and I know it was occasional fight. But now it's getting out of control, and I'm really very, very worried about that. And I know Dr. Cirillo get the news from the principal. And another thing I would like to know, if it would be possible, I know, the teacher have a schedule, that the principal could come here occasion to the meeting, to the board meeting, for you to meet then, because I know sometimes it's hard for you guys to go and meet with the principal. And that way you could get in touch and ask questions to the principal and find a solution for this situation.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. Next, yes.
Bradley Rivera, 512 Glen Avenue. I'll start by congratulating the future board members who got elected. My question is a follow-up to something Dr. Cirillo stated. He said that there was mold discovered in a classroom. My daughter goes to the school, it's the first time I'm hearing of it. Were the parents whose children were in the class notified? And has the source of the mold been identified? Because if it's a leak and it's continuous, I would like to know what has taken place and what follow-up actions are in place to inform those concerned of what caused it and how we can mitigate this. I know HVAC and all that stuff is happening. This is more questions than answers. So that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience participation? Yes.
Alex Monteleone, 426 7th Street. I just want to acknowledge Mary de Blasio and the Italian Honor Society. For years, I do donations throughout this time of the year. I get donations from ShopRite, other people, and every year the Italian Honor Society, without even being asked, offers me boxes of dry goods. The students are excellent, that she has are excellent, no questions asked. I picked up 6 boxes, 20 turkeys from ShopRite. They're gonna be going to 20 families in Palisades Park in need. I just want to acknowledge the students and the teacher herself, because it's, without question, I never have to ask, they're always there to support. But I also have another question I want to ask. We talked about the boiler and the furnace in the schools. I don't always come to meetings, I watch them online. Thank you, Juan. My question is, this has been an issue since I went to schools here. And I ask all you board members, what is the plan? We're talking about fixing now. Dr. Cirillo just said it's almost irreplaceable, imperable, non-repairable. What is the plan if tonight that furnace goes? What are we doing with all those students? Where are they going to go? If it's cold down, it's 20 degrees out, and there's no heat in the schools. What's the goal? Those furnaces are old. I've been hearing Mrs. Palazzo for years and years and years saying it. Nothing has happened. The other last thing I want to ask is to the board members. You guys took this grant that Dr. Shaw was talking about for the 3rd and 4th graders. What is the plan? If year 4, Dr. Shaw, if I'm saying corrected, we're not going to have enough room for these children? And if that's the idea, do we have to give that money back? What are we going to do with the kids? Now we had that program. Is there a plan? Did you guys have a plan in place 4 years ago when you accepted this grant to say, hey, we're going to need space? If so, is there a development project? Do you guys have something planned to build on this building? I know you said about renting. What is the plan? What are you going to do? That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Any other audience participation? If not, I'd like to close audience participation, and I'd like to entertain a motion that we go into closed session.
I'll answer a few of these points in no specific order, but I hope to do the best I can. So, Ms. Neris, the scope of work in the 3 schools is pretty unique. I'm going to tell you, we identified all 3 schools as needing much repair. Here at the Early Childhood Center, I will start with our unit vents. That's where the heating comes from. There is no air conditioning in any of the classrooms. We have 3- and 4-year-old children who, in this building alone, we have the largest population of special education children who are required by law to go to school for an additional month of school, 20 additional days. Sometimes seizure disorders are attributed because of the heat. We have autistic children in this building. When the governor was here last year to give us that grant, he was appalled at how hot it was. We told him that clearly we wanted to create a plan, but these are things that take time. So here at the Early Childhood Center, the long and the short of it is every unit ventilator will have both heat and coolant provided, every classroom. Additionally, at Lindbergh Elementary School, Joe Spalazzo, who's in the audience tonight, can tell you, we have 2 boilers, and I know this answers a part of Alex's question, which I will get to, but those boilers are, again, they've had their day. They are finished. With that being said, we are replacing our boilers at Lindbergh Elementary School, both of them. The good news is when one goes down, fortunately, we have a backup right now. So that is the plan. When one goes down, we have a backup that the heat doesn't completely turn off. But again, it's when both go down, what do? Fortunately, we've learned in a very short period of time that virtual instruction does work. Never will replace in-person learning. But that's Lindbergh Elementary School's immediate need and first and foremost fix. At the junior senior high school, I can tell you that's where I started my career 20 years ago. Still to this day, there are pipes in that building that are crumbling in our hands. Mr. Spalazzo came to my office when I was a high school administrator, and I had a pool of water in my office. And the reality was a pipe burst, and pipes have to be replaced. We are adding coolant there as well with our air conditioner units. Clearly, these are major upgrades. The high school is the largest of the 3 projects. I believe the high school is approximately $3.6 million, based on memory. $3.68 million. Lindbergh Elementary School is $894,000, and the Early Childhood Center is $749,000. So these are not quick little fixes. These are major upgrades, major but also immediate needs. So at Lindbergh Elementary School, replacing of the boiler is not just swapping out the old and bringing in the new. We have the building from the 1920s when it was built, and we have asbestos to deal with. There are major, areas that need our attention immediately, but these were identified as the most in need of repair immediately. As far as the discipline concerns, I'm not going to debate you on a fight is happening every day. I don't think it's every day. I think it's too often. Let's agree to that. One is too many. We have to continue to work with our local police department. We have to continue to work with our school administrators. But I think we can turn these into teachable moments. Let's bring the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office in and have assembly programs. Because most of these fights do not start in the school. They start on the internet. They start on social media. And many of these issues come back into the building because that's where the kids find each other. I don't have a solution to fixing them, otherwise it would have been done already. But I think we need the students' attention and help. They are adults, young adults, and they need to be treated like such. We need their help to fix this problem. So again, I will continue to work. Maybe we create a task force. Maybe we get some student leaders involved. We get some administrators and teachers. I'm all ears. When it comes to helping children, let's work on it together.
But it was a reason why the bathroom was closed, like that was very late.
So I'm not, once we're closed, we're closed. The issue I think, and again, I'm gonna just say it clearly, bathrooms are not always supervised, and it's an easy spot for people to meet. We'll leave it at that.
Well, they need to use it. They need that.
Mr. Rivera, notification was 100% sent to every child in that classroom, to all of the students and or faculty members that may have stepped foot in that area. Additionally, I can tell you wholeheartedly that although it was a very low level, I am treating this concern like it's a very high level. We are not stepping foot in there. And again, that area was already treated today. I can show you the area, but the bigger concern was, how do we prevent this from happening again? Well, I can tell you that if we have a few minutes and a flashlight, I can walk around the back with you. I know your background a little bit from coming to these meetings. I know you're a parent in our district. But we have poor pitching on our grounds. And unfortunately, when it rains, water has been seeping from the outside in. With that being said, we had a bookshelf in the center of a room that had accumulated a little bit of water because the drainage, you would have thought would have stayed out of our building. Instead, it came in our building, puddled around this bookshelf in the center of the room. And when we mopped it up or wet dried it, unfortunately, the shelf was still there. When we moved the shelf, we realized underneath it, there was discoloration. Immediately, I said, let's test it. That is the source. It came from outside, clearly. The shelf has been discarded because there was discoloration on it. Regardless, we are, again, part of our HVAC at this building, I want you to know, is that the pitching, because it's hard to tell in this room, but all of our ground level classrooms, our univentilators are literally maybe 12 inches off the ground. When you get a good rainstorm, water can come through there, and that is 100% what happened. Mr. Monteleone, thank you for honoring or recognizing, more importantly, that group of students. The Honor Society, I think it came across my desk at 7 o'clock tonight. That I appreciate the efforts of Mr. Blasio and those children. Our HVAC plan, again, I'm grateful we have this moving forward. What would happen clearly in the event that you have a natural disaster, a state of emergency type, where there was no heat, where there was no power, I'm sure, because again, that's beyond our control, we would be permitted to have virtual instruction. So it would count. I think part of our discipline issues, you can relate back to kids starting to now socialize once again. Kids not remembering how to act with one another. So this is all reciprocal from the pandemic. I'm not making excuses, these are facts. But again, the HVAC plan is that we continue to chip away. These were all items identified in the referendum years ago when I put it forth with the board at the time. Unfortunately, it was defeated, and it was defeated handedly. So now we're here. This is not costing taxpayers any money. We have to do work. We have to work together. And the last thing I think you mentioned was the 3- and 4-year-olds in this building. We knew 5 years was 5 years, and we are only in year 2, and it's only November, so there is time. And we intentionally said year 4 and year 5 is where we have to bring in our most students. Year 1 was 60, year 2, which we are in, is 75. Next year we will be at 90 students. Unfortunately, we have a wait list. Unfortunately, we can't service every child, but we don't have the room to do that. I would take more kids, I would take more money. We just don't have space. So what would happen, unfortunately, in year 4 and 5, if you don't have the facilities, you don't have to give back the money you received, but you cannot offer a program without the facilities. So that's worst case scenario. I hope we never get there.
Just for the additional students, right? Not the one that is.
I don't know the answer to that, but I believe if you can't satisfy your full quota, you may forfeit the whole program. That may be a terrible loss for us.
Do you have any statistics for the findings?
Statistics for the findings?
Yes.
I don't have them currently with me. I know we're gonna go into closed session tonight to discuss one item,
Right.
which is a HIB. With that being said, I don't believe we're doing any formal vote tonight. Our law requires that I discuss it tonight,
Yeah.
that I notify the parents so they have the right to come next month to appeal any decision in the school. But statistics, I don't have them currently. What I can tell you wholeheartedly is we treat our discipline matters very seriously. We don't condone it. We don't, expect it. Unfortunately, this is something that we are dealing with. It's a fact. Let's not hide behind it, but we have to do a better job of addressing the concern.
Well, if there are so many altercations, then I think you got some kind of report, right, from principal, right, high school
Of course,
principal.
yes.
So, I'm kind of curious because, I also heard from other parents that there's some kind of altercation getting really serious, so that, just wanna see, what kind of status we are in, and what kind of findings in nature.
Yeah, so I can be very discreet, obviously, because of confidentiality. I can't share student names, obviously. I can't share, the content, what led to these incidents. Many of these cases, I promise you, lead to police involvement, involving police reports. These are not things that, okay, they had a fight, no big deal, let them have lunch tomorrow together. You know, these are, you know, this is something that is concerning. I would be more than happy. I think we can discuss this, we can continue to look into it.
So I'm not making a motion for that, but just asking for consideration that also I got a phone call, as I say, from the parents. But I noticed that not just this case, but throughout the year, many parents are confused when things happens to their kids. And also I noticed that in school ground that teachers, faculty and staff, they also sometimes are confused how to address that incidents. And I see the policy in our website about HIV or virus or misconduct and those issues as a high volume of writings. And I think since our community is very diverse, it might be great. It might be a good idea to make a simplified for 1 to 5 protocols when things happens to the parents and faculty, and they can follow the step. And for example, the chain of command and stuff when things happen to report.
So something, if I understand you correctly, you want there to be a more clear
Right. Like
communication between the school and
Right.
the families?
Yes, and then more simplified protocol, like first, if that's a violation, that do the police report. Second, go to bullying specialist or principal and go to superintendents, and they don't really know about these things, so.
Okay. So I think parent programs can be helpful. I think we can have parent programs where we can speak to this issue, but also, so we have our code of conduct.
Right.
Every school has that.
Right.
The students are given the code of conduct. Of course, I'm sure high school kids don't share it with their parents. It's unfortunate. But I'd be more than happy to try to narrow the gap that might exist in this concern.
The simpler and in Spanish and in Korean.
I will be more than happy. What I'm gonna recommend is to all 3 schools, a parent night, where we can discuss some of our concerns, and we can have translators be available in 3 languages.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, if I can just make a comment, Dr. Cirillo, you said that we can have the prosecutor office come and give the training. So, maybe the board can make a part of it, to educate the parents what to do if something happens. So that, I see that, parents contacting the board members, but, as you're all aware, that there's, chain of communications. So if the parents contact you, maybe you can give some sort of a handout, this is the way you need to do, so that the board members don't have to give their individual opinions, if something happens.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So,
Yes. Oh, we have to, I think we're in close, so I don't know if we have to open again or if you're gonna do that.
Let's just find that.
Go ahead, you can touch it.
Just real quick for the Burn County prosecutor, just so you know, they do presentations for parents, solely just for parents, and they have ones for students. They have separate ones. They have a lot of, if you go on their website, all you have to do is send a request, and they will reach out to you back, and they will come to presentations for you. And different languages as well, too.
I will make a motion to close audience participation.
make a motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we are gonna go to closed session. We are not going to take any formal action after. If you choose to hang out, stay. If you choose to leave, happy Thanksgiving.